Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you 6 essential shading techniques that can really help you add depth and dimension to your drawings. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to improve, these techniques are useful in so many different ways. Let's get started. First, let's start with gradient shading. This is probably the most important shading technique and you'll use it often. You want a smooth transition from light to dark, and to do that, start with light pressure and gradually build it up as you move across the shape. As you can see, it's all about control. The lighter the pressure, the softer the shading. As you apply more pressure, the shadow becomes deeper. This is great for creating roundness or form, especially when shading spheres or curved objects. Next is crosshatching. This is a technique where you layer your lines over each other to build up shadows. You start by drawing lines in one direction, then to build up the shadow, you add another layer of lines going in a different direction. The more lines you add, the darker the shading becomes. This technique is great for adding texture or creating shadows in a more structured way. You can control the density of the lines to achieve lighter or darker areas as needed. Now let's move on to stippling or stippling. This technique uses small dots to create shadow. Here, I'm adding dots close together to create darker areas. The key to stippling is how densely you place the dots. The more concentrated they are, the darker the shadow will appear. This technique is useful for creating soft transitions, and it's especially effective in ink drawings, but works well with pencils too. Take your time with stippling and you'll be able to create some beautifully detailed textures and soft shadows. Next is scribbling. This is a more freedom technique where you quickly build up shading with irregular strokes. Here I'm creating layers of scribbled lines to form the shadow. The darker areas are built up by overlapping more scribbles, while the lighter areas are left more open. This technique is great for quick sketches or adding energy and texture to your drawing. It's a fast and effective way to shade, and it gives you the flexibility to create shadows quickly without worrying too much about precision. Now we'll look at circular lines. This technique uses small circular strokes to build up shading. By making it tight, overlapping circles, you can create smooth shadows. The key here is control the pressure, just like with the other techniques. Light circles for soft shadows, and heavier, tighter circles for darker areas. Finally, let's look at triangular mesh. This technique involves creating a shadow by drawing small overlapping triangles, or any other shape as you want, but in this instance, triangles is the one. Start by filling the area with small triangles, and as you add more, the shadow becomes darker. The more triangles you add, the more depth you can achieve. This technique is great for creating texture, and it's especially effective when you want more geometric or abstract approach to your shading. Well, let me know which technique you found most helpful, or if there's any that you'd love to try out. And if this video was useful, feel free to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos. So those are the 6 shading techniques you can use to enhance your drawings. Each one has its own unique qualities, and knowing when to use them will really help bring more depth and realism to your work.